Imagine this. A man sitting alone at a coffee shop. Around him, the world is in a frenzy. People glued to their screens, scrolling through social media, desperately seeking approval from strangers online. Couples take endless selfies, groups gossip, and lone wolves swipe through dating apps as if their very existence depends on finding validation. Yet this man, he's different. He's not chasing likes or following trends. With his earbuds in, he's deeply immersed in a philosophical audiobook, while everyone around him numbs their minds with the latest TikTok trends. He's not lonely. He's not desperate. And that, my friend, makes him the most dangerous person in the room. But why is that? Why does a man who is so comfortable in his own skin, who doesn't need the constant buzz of social validation, who can sit with his thoughts without needing to escape, strike fear into society? Hold that thought, because we're about to dive into something that'll change the way you look at solitude forever. Here's the brutal truth that no one wants to admit. Our entire social structure thrives on your neediness. Every advertisement, every social media platform, every dating app, every self-help guru, they all operate on one fundamental assumption. You are incomplete without others. Find your soulmate, build your network, connect with friends. You need a community to be happy. But what if that's a lie? What if the man sitting alone, completely content with his own company, represents a threat so great to the social order that we've collectively decided to label him as lonely, antisocial, or weird? Here's the truth. Society doesn't fear the man who can't be alone. It fears the man who doesn't need anyone else. When you begin to embrace solitude, something shifts. You stop seeking approval. You stop craving validation. You start thinking for yourself. And thinking for yourself, my friend, is dangerous. That's what society fears. Let me tell you about two men who understood this better than most. Two men, centuries apart, who saw solitude not as weakness, but as power. The first was Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in the ancient world. While commanding legions and ruling an empire, he spent his evenings alone, reflecting on his day, writing in his journal, questioning everything. He understood something most people never grasp. True power comes from within. As he wrote, "All cruelty springs from weakness." The second, Friedrich Nietzsche, the philosopher who went mad but whose ideas outlived empires, declared, "The individual has always had to struggle not to be overwhelmed by the tribe." Both of these men discovered something that society desperately wants to keep hidden. The person who can be alone with their thoughts is the person who can think for themselves. And thinking for yourself, that's the most dangerous thing you can do in a world that thrives on conformity. So, what's actually going on inside the mind of someone who chooses solitude over social validation? First, they've broken free from the addiction to approval. While everyone else is posting, liking, commenting, and chasing that dopamine hit from social media, the person who embraces solitude has found something far more powerful: self-respect. They don't need others to validate their existence. Second, they've learned to sit with discomfort. Most people can't stand being alone with their thoughts for even 5 minutes without reaching for their phones. Why? Because silence reveals who we really are, and most people are terrified of what they'll find. But the dangerous loner, they've had those late-night conversations with themselves. They've confronted their demons, their fears, their failures, and they've come out stronger. Third, they can't be manipulated. When you don't need others for validation, you can't be controlled. You can't be bought with popularity. You can't be silenced by social pressure. There's a method to this madness, and it's rooted in ancient wisdom. Marcus Aurelius practiced what he called the discipline of desire. Every evening, he would reflect on his day. What did I want today that I didn't need? What did I fear that was beyond my control? What did I do to seek approval that compromised my values? This wasn't just journaling. This was psychological training. Marcus understood that the person who knows themselves deeply can't be fooled by shallow games. They become immune to manipulation because they've spent time examining their motivations, facing their fears, and developing their own moral compass. Nietzsche took it even further. He said, "The truly dangerous person is the one who creates their own values instead of inheriting them from society." Most people live according to a moral code they never chose. They believe what they believe because their parents believed it, their friends believe it, or their culture believes it. But the person who embraces solitude begins to ask uncomfortable questions. Why do I believe this? Who benefits from me believing this? What would I believe if I started from scratch? This is where it gets dangerous, because when you stop accepting someone else's values, you stop being predictable. You stop being controllable. And that's terrifying to society. But there's a critical distinction that society has muddled: loneliness versus solitude. Loneliness is the feeling of lack. It's the belief that something is missing from your life and that you need others to complete you. Solitude, on the other hand, is a state of wholeness. It's the ability to be content and complete in your own company. In our modern world, society has intentionally blurred the lines between these two concepts. Why? Because loneliness is profitable. Lonely people buy things they don't need. They seek validation through purchases, social media, and consumption. Solitary people, however, are not so easily manipulated. They're not distracted. They're thinking. And thinking people, they're dangerous to systems built on conformity and thoughtless consumption. Now, after reflecting on the lives of Marcus Aurelius and Nietzsche, I've identified 4 key principles that make solitude so dangerous. First, radical self-honesty. The dangerous loner has learned to be brutally honest with themselves. They don't lie to themselves to feel better. They face reality head-on. This makes them dangerous because they can see through manipulation and spot lies in others. Second, value independence. They've developed their own moral code, rooted in reason, not tradition. This makes them dangerous because they can't be controlled by shame or guilt. They do what they believe is right, regardless of what others think. Third, emotional self-sufficiency. They don't need others to regulate their emotions. They've learned to find strength from within. This makes them dangerous because they can't be emotionally manipulated. And fourth, intellectual courage. They're willing to question beliefs that others take for granted. They're not afraid to think the unthinkable. This makes them dangerous because they'll speak uncomfortable truths, even at the cost of social rejection. But let's not sugarcoat it. This path isn't easy. There's a price to pay for independence. You'll face isolation, not loneliness, but isolation. People will misunderstand you. Some friends will fade away. Family members will be uncomfortable with your growth. Society will pressure you to conform, to be more like everyone else. But here's the thing. The price of conformity is much higher. The price of conformity is your soul. Why does society fear the self-sufficient? The answer lies in economics, social hierarchy, and politics. Our economy relies on people buying things they don't need to impress others. The self-sufficient man doesn't participate in that game. Social hierarchies depend on people caring about status. If you don't care about status, you become unpredictable. And in politics, democracies depend on people being influenced by popular opinion. A person who thinks for themselves is much harder to manipulate. Your independence reminds others of their dependence, and that's a threat to the status quo. So how do you become dangerous in the best way possible? Start small. Spend time alone without distractions. Reflect on your day, question your beliefs, and examine what you truly value. Stop seeking validation from others. Learn to enjoy your own company and build a rich inner life. And most importantly, remember this paradox. When you stop needing others, you become the most attractive person in the room. But you're not doing it for others. You're doing it because it's the right way to live. And when you live this way, everything, relationships, friendships, work, becomes more fulfilling. Because you don't need them to feel whole. You're already complete. The world needs more dangerous people. Not dangerous in the sense of hurting others, but dangerous in the sense of being free. Free from manipulation, free from validation, free from societal pressure. The world needs people who can think for themselves, who are comfortable in their own skin, and who can sit with their thoughts without needing to escape. The world needs people who are dangerous because they stand alone. Stay dangerous, my friend.